Hello, and welcome to another episode of Cooking with Cleavage. Look at those beautiful shrimp, y'all. Started peeling the shrimp. The whole point of cooking it with the heads on is because shrimp have a lot of fat in the head. So you lose a lot of the fat that would go into that dish if you just throw the heads away. But I started thinking, why can't you just make a stock out of the heads, and then it has all that fat in there, and then y'all are gonna see what I do. But first I want to show y'all how to peel a shrimp. I don't know if you know how. I'm gonna make the stock in here. So I'm just gonna put the head in there. You take the head off first. Then you can take these little legs off and get the body off of it, the body of the shell around it. And I'll try to get this last one. And I try to get as much of that tail as possible. Sometimes I can get it easy. See? It's a hard one. There. See? That's all shrimp right there. And then what you can do is you can devein it. You just take this little poop vein out. You just cut it all along with a knife, like that. And you can see it. That's like the poop line. And then you just take that out. Shoot, I like to do it with a knife. But you have to be careful. You can just take it right out. I'm sure some are much easier than others. But you just get it out. I just put it on the paper. Get it out of the way. And that's also, people call this butterfly, but it's just a small little butterfly. It's not a heavy butterfly. Okay, so I am gonna make the stock with beer. This is Purple Haze. It's made by Abita Brewery. I took it out of the fridge a while ago. And I'm just gonna put that right on top of the shells. I used to work with a guy. He gave me an idea to use veal demi-glace. I think we can use more than that. All right, I'm gonna use more than that. We're gonna make a stock, but then we're gonna reduce it. I think that's probably good. Maybe a little more. Probably good. Okay. We're gonna get that boiling on the stove. Put that back burner on. Whew, smells like gas. So I have that on medium high, probably, right? And then I'm gonna cover it and let it come to a boil. I'm gonna let it boil for a little while, but I'm gonna turn it down once it starts boiling. So I came up with an idea. I don't know if it's gonna be good, but I think it's gonna be good, and it's rosé, because it's Easter, so pink, right? Like my earrings. And purple haze, a little bit of purple haze. You know, you've heard people do that. Mix beer and champagne, or beer and 7-Up. Something like that. So I thought let's try this, because it's a little bit rosé, is just a tiny bit sweeter, wouldn't you say, than Brut. And then we have the sweetness of the Purple Haze, which is a raspberry beer. There we go. I'm going to finish with this. So I'm going to start with the Purple Haze. And y'all, I'm calling this an Easter haze. Should I make it in a pretty glass? Okay. It's probably going to come up, and I'm going to have to wait for it to go down. And then I'm going to top it with some rosé. That's probably good, because it's got to settle now. We'll be back and try. Okay, y'all, I'm going to give it a try. This is Easter haze, I'm thinking. Ooh, that's delicious. Interesting. I thought, too, I'd put a little bit of this peel on here, if I could do this without a knife real quick. And do like a little twist on it. I like that. All right, so we're gonna wait for that stock to finish, and then as soon as it does, we're gonna strain it and let it reduce. Okay, so it started boiling, y'all. Take that out. And I'm gonna get all that goodness that you see around the side of the pot and make sure it's all in there. So let's keep that boiling for a little while, but with the cover off, so it's actually reducing. Okay, as y'all see, as I said, we're keeping this topless, and then all the flavors are just gonna penetrate together while, as it boils, it evaporates the water, see? And it makes it reduce. We're gonna let that simmer for a while. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to strain this into this pot. I'm going to get that pot nice and clean, because I'm going to use that pot later for the pasta. Okay. Okay, and then we're going to take that and let that strain on there. And we're going to turn this on. And let that simmer for a little while. And that'll reduce some more too. When we're ready for it, we'll just pull out whatever we need. Okay, like I say, when you make pasta, you have to make it as salty as the sea. Because pasta doesn't have any salt at all. So I'm going to use about that much. And you just want to bring that to a boil. Have some fresh pasta here. I'm gonna turn it down a little bit. It doesn't have to be that high of a boil. So you want to put it in there, and then you want to bring it back to a boil. Don't cook this pasta as long as you do the dried out pasta. This is fresh.
Trying to figure this out. No lights, less sound. I've been making friends with the feeling of doubt, but I still try.
So once it comes to a boil, you cook it for 3 minutes. I'm gonna taste it after like 1 to see where we are. Seemed like a long time for the water to come to a boil. As y'all can see, I haven't made this in a while. Okay, so it said 3 minutes for al dente, but I bet you that is ready. And then the best way to unstick pasta, y'all, is to add a little of that sauce from the pasta. It makes it not stick. All right. So we're gonna dish that up. I think I could add a little bit more. See? How it doesn't stick. All right, I'm gonna dish it up. Okay, see how that's not sticking to each other? I'm gonna put some of that on a plate. That looks really good. So you could see how deliciously moist it's gonna be. And today I went over to the bakery that's not even far from my house. It's 2 stop signs. And I'm gonna cut off a piece of that because I can mop it right up in that juice right there. Hope y'all enjoyed this episode, and thank you for joining me. I'm going to continue eating. As y'all can tell, you can't wait for me to chew this food. I hope y'all have a happy spring and start a festival season. See you next time on Cooking with Cleavage.